We all need a player on the back end of our bench who has a ton of upside. That's a lottery ticket, who's dirt cheap. But if they go off, if they do what they're supposed to do somewhere down the line, middle of the year, end of the year, they could be a league winner for us. And we use the spot on our bench to turn and burn these young players who have this upside, who have these great collegiate profiles, good draft capital, good athleticism, and are just a spot or two away from climbing the depth chart and really getting the opportunity to be a splash play in fantasy football. Kendre Miller might have that opportunity this week, but looks like he's healthy, looks like he's back, and even if he doesn't get enough touches this week, the long term might be juicy for him as he's got a ton of upside with that size and just athleticism, has the draft capital, and we saw what he did last year at TCU. We're going to dig into the stats, the data, and the news again on Kendre Miller to let you know whether or not you need him for your fantasy football team, whether he is the upside play for you. But you do need to click that subscribe button right now. Give it a tap with the finger on your phone. Click with the mouse. Stop missing out on these deep dives on these players. We cover the waiver wire players all week long, one by one, the top trending topics. On top of that, waiver wire videos to help you get those players, and we're helping you set those lineups, make those trades, and everything else to help you win your league. But let's dig in here. Kendre Miller, looking at the injuries here. Kendre Miller, full participant in practice. Looks like he'll be playing in his first ever NFL game. Jamal Williams out. Did not participate. He is dealing with a hamstring injury. Looks like he's going to be out for some time. Who knows how long, but looks like it's going to be a good bit. We know Alvin Kamara is slated to come back soon. So Kendre Miller, even if he gets a good run here, doesn't mean he's going to get a full piece of the pie for a long time, as Kamara should be getting his opportunity instantly when he gets back. But this is a sign that we could be seeing some opportunity as early as this week for Kendre Miller. And looking at him, he has not played yet this season. Again, has been dealing with an injury, and that's been keeping him out. But has been a full participant in Thursday's practice. It's Friday. We'll probably get even more news out. Things are probably going to be buzzing on Kendre Miller throughout the weekend. If he's on waivers, he's a stash. He's been a stash throughout draft season. We've been talking about him. Who's that rookie you're going to stash that was in the double-digit rounds? Which running back are you trying to hold on to that could hit somewhere down the line in the season? Because the players that hit are usually in year 1 and year 2 of their career. Sometimes you catch players in like year 5 and year 6 when they're transitioning to a new team after they finish their rookie contract. However, Kendre Miller has some things in his profile that we're going to be looking at today. First off, he was very productive last year, almost 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 3.64 yards after contact per attempt. 5 the year prior, and he was on the watch list going into 2022 season. It's not like he came out of nowhere. He was sharing the field with Zach Evans back in the day. And when he got the backfield to himself over at TCU in 2022, he just went off. He was very explosive. You saw him versus Bijan Robinson, and he looked good in that matchup. He is a good running back. He's got some good wiggle. He can really help this team. And if more attrition hits these running backs, he might be the guy for the long term. We know how the running back position works. We know that these guys are off and on, up and down with injuries. That's why they don't pay the running backs. That's why the running back position is very volatile. But again, Kendre Miller, a young guy with some upside here, 3.83 yards after contact per attempt on his career. He had 70 missed tackles last year, one of the tops in the nation in college football. 6.7 yards per attempt on his career. 6.2 was his worst season. And looking at his draft profile, early third-round pick, 5'11", 215 pounds, and he was injured at the end of the season last year, so we don't have much on the athletic metrics, but go to the tape. Go to the highlights if you need something quicker, but you'll see the speed, you'll see the size, and you'll see him pull away in the second level. Look at that game against Texas last year. Look at that game. You'll get a good indication of what Kendre Miller's about. Again, he was productive. 24.9 dominator rating, 52nd percentile, 79th percentile yards per carry, Solid running back here. Good production, good size. You'll see the wiggle on tape. Trust me, go take a look at that. And the Saints are running 71 plays per game. 40 pass attempts, 30 run plays. Looks like they want to use the run game. Since they're banged up at the running back position, I would not be surprised if they go heavy with the passing game. They start chucking it to Olave, Michael Thomas. That's my biggest prediction going into this game, that they're going to just toss it around a little bit more. They're going to give it to Chris Olave. They're going to give it to Michael Thomas. Rashid Shaheed might have a sneaky performance. They might throw it a little bit more because why not? You got some hosses there. Why not? But Kendre should be getting some opportunity in his first ever game at the NFL level. And then looking at Tony Jones, I did a video on him a few days ago in the You Need series. And we do the You Need series because we got to do a deep dive on these players so you know who they are. Half that video, I was talking about Kendre Miller. If you watch the video, you know that. If you watch the headline, you're looking at Tony Jones like, what's going on? Tony Jones is a jag. And you're hoping he gets enough touches to fall over the goal line, maybe break a long run or two. You're hoping he gets lucky. You're hoping something happens to where he gives you some fantasy production. He's a jag, though. Kendre Miller's got upside. He's got athleticism. He's a long play. He's a play that even if he flops this week, you want him next week, and the next week, and the next week to see what happens. He's that type of lottery ticket that if you drop it anytime during the season and he is scooped up by somebody else off waivers, he could go off then because you never know when it's going to happen. It's kind of like the David Johnson effect where he was just simmering all season long during his rookie season and then all of a sudden, boom, goes off, and next thing you know, you got a top running back. We could get that out of Kendre Miller because that is where the upside is at with that player. And then looking at the rankings going into this week, because you're going to want to know whether to start these guys or not. Decent matchup here. Looking at 4for4's rankings, they got them ranked around the 45 range among running backs. Look at the other running backs listed here. That's where they got them at. However, they're a little bit conservative when they're ranking players, and they might move Kendre up a bit throughout the weekend. I could see that. But they also don't know the workload. I don't know the workload, and we do not know how they're going to distribute the touches. It could be a Kendre Miller game. It could be ugly. I see them throwing it a little bit more. That's the thing about this. There's a gamble here because you do not know what this team is planning to do going into the week. But if we get a lot of touches for Kendre Miller, you could be seeing some upside here. If you need a gamble in your lineup, maybe. But gambles are gambles. You don't know. But you do need him stashed. You do need him on your roster at the very least. You do need him there. You need to have a gamble somewhere on your team like this. It does not have to be Kendre Miller, but you do need a gamble for the long term. That's something like this. It could be a chain. It could be Tank Bigsby, preferably at the running back position. But again, you need to gamble somewhere on your roster to see if it hits, and you need to not be afraid to turn and burn if things really do start to go sour. But again, Kendre Miller is a top-tier lottery ticket right now in fantasy football. And looking at this matchup, we got 42.5 over-under. Again, we could hit the over on this. If the Saints want to throw the ball around, this could give these running backs some opportunity. This could be an ugly game as well. We have to see the Saints are also on the road this week. Something you want to pay attention to, but you need them because you're chasing upside. You need them because you're not looking at this week. You're also looking at the weeks afterwards. You see Alvin Kamara there. You see Jamal Williams there, but you're not worried about that. You're chasing the upside. You're chasing to see if attrition happens, if these guys get injured, if he gets some opportunity. Even if he's sharing reps, he does have the upside to hit on a long game. You don't need him. You're scared of Alvin Kamara. You're scared of Jamal Williams. You don't have room on your bench. You just don't have it. You drafted well. You don't have that room, and that's okay. He might even be already on a team right now. He might not even be on waivers. He shouldn't be on waivers. He should have been sitting on a roster all this time because he is a top-tier lottery ticket, and you need to look at him as a lottery ticket. You don't look at him as a guaranteed thing. You look at him as a top-tier lottery ticket you have on the back end of your roster, and if it hits, you're hitting to the moon. If it doesn't hit, then he's like any of the other players that you got on the waivers, that you got on the back end of any other roster, and that's okay. But we're trying to go to the moon with this last spot or two on our roster because, one, we don't want it in our lineups anyways, and then two, if it hits, that might be enough for us to win the league. So this is more of a long-term play than it is a week 3 play. Week 3 is a speculation, and we all know that. We don't know what's coming into this week. We don't know what's going to happen. There's no real take other than we don't know. However, long-term, look at that. Kendre Miller, one of the best lottery tickets in fantasy football right now. If he's sitting there, go get him. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Stop missing out on this content. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.